way, somehow, we survived the off-season.
Yes.
College football is back. Game week is here. Welcome to Flame Central. Thanks so much for joining us today. As you may know, I'm Emily, and he's Matt.
Yeah, we have another great show ahead, and it is chock full of football. Analyst Joe Yock will join us in just a moment as we get you ready for kickoff against Maine on Saturday.
But before Yock Talk takes over the show, we have to discuss the Flames starting quarterback situation. This battle began back in spring ball and was narrowed down to Ethan Vasco and Ryan Berger about a week ago. So, Matt, who will it be under center on Saturday? I'm happy to share that the wait is finally over. The answer is Ethan Vasco, the transfer from Coastal Carolina. Head coach Jamey Chadwell announced the news on Thursday. Just 2 days before the season opener, Vasco brings plenty of experience to Liberty. In his 20 games at Coastal, the redshirt junior threw for nearly 3,000 yards and 21 touchdowns. He also picked up 815 yards and 7 scores on the ground. Now that he's been named the starter, Vasco is ready to lead this Flames offense.
This will be my, 17th start. So going in, had a lot of experience playing, seeing a lot of different teams, seeing a lot of different defenses, and then just knowing kind of how to work through a game and play and stay healthy is a big thing too. So having that experience, I think, helped out a lot. But, it was a great battle. We have a lot of great quarterbacks in our room, so I'm just happy to be in this position.
You need playing experience, and if you look at everybody on our roster from a quarterback standpoint, Vasco's really the only one who wants to play a lot in games. At the end of the day, that's what really won out as far as just the experience, making sure that when we go out there for the first time with us, that somebody's had some experience underneath the lights, underneath the center, so to speak. And so that's ultimately what won out.
What an exciting time on the mountain. Not only is football back, but it feels like fall. Come out and enjoy the beautiful, cool weather and support your Flames for their season opener this Saturday, August 30th, against the Maine Black Bears. Kickoff is at 4 o'clock. You can get your tickets at lufootball.com. See you at Williams Stadium.
All right, let's continue talking football. Joe Yock is here. And listen,
he's back.
We heard what our audience said. They said, we want more Joe Yock.
Yes.
So we're giving the people what they want. Each and every week during the football season, you're going to get a little Yock Talk. So Joe's coming on all season long. Excited about that. Joe,
very excited.
It's going to, when it's game week, Joe turns it up a notch.
Yes.
Let's start with this Liberty squad going up against Maine. Liberty a heavy favorite. They're expected to win. So beyond a victory for you watching this game, what do you need to see from the Flames to feel like, all right, they're moving in the right direction?
I think the strength of this football team is going to be their defense, right? And so you start looking to went out to practice the other day, a little bit of swagger around this defense now. They got some guys, they got a few things. They got guys that can run. These are like positive things to have on defense.
Yes.
Guys that can run.
That's a
right?
check.
Yeah,
look
that
for
will
that.
check. When you're recruiting, check
Can
that
you run?
mark.
Yeah.
Guys that are tough, right? Check mark to that one, right? And then I think maybe most important is that they've got depth now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different competition. Competition helps everybody get better. And then, you look at a guy like CJ Bazell, right? Here's a guy that can play with his hair on fire, but he also realizes that, hey, if I need a blow, I've got backup behind me. We can move some parts of the puzzle around in order to still have that high pressure defense. So I'm more excited than anything to watch a fully accomplished Liberty Flames defense take the field.
All right. You talk about the defense as a whole. Let's dial into a specific position group. Either side of the ball. Is there one position group on this team that you're most excited about?
Yeah, I'm going to say I'm going to hop over to the offensive side of the ball for that, and I think it's the wide receivers. Coach Tony Washington has got a crew over there. It is an absolute crew over there. And, from guys, you look at Jamari Person, who comes, the transfer from Colorado State, who comes in. I mean, this guy is off the charts.
You think he's going to be the number one receiver?
I think he's the number one receiver, not only for Liberty. I think he's got the opportunity to be one of the top receivers in the conference. And he's that kind of player. But the depth, once again, at the receiver position, you go from a guy like Reese Smith, who you thought was going to have a break until he got injured last year, 3 touchdowns against East Carolina. Thought he was going to have a breakout season. Dante Lee Jr., a fantastic player. Elijah Canyon's back, another player. Tyson Mobley's back, another. So there is so much depth at that position, and now they have the ability to stretch we got to stretch the field. We got to get the ball down. That was a struggle last year, because what defenses do is what they did is they limited Liberty to what they did. They said, okay, we're going to make you plod our way down the field because you're really not a threat to go over the top of us. And do you have the patience to do that? And I think now, as well as we know that Dirks is going to have that interior offensive line ready to roll, and they're going to be able to run the ball between the tackles, but with the quarterback mobility, and then the threat of these receivers, holy Toledo, the Flames got an opportunity to get the job done this year.
Excited to see that group. All right, finally, Joe, you've been around the game a long time.
Yeah.
Long time. You've played in a lot of season openers.
Yeah.
What is different about taking the field in a season opener compared to week 4, 5, 6?
I think it's difficult for the young guys who've never done it before.
Yeah.
Like you can think about it, you can believe it, you can go to sleep at night, take all the mental reps you want, right? But when they turn the lights on and the place is packed out, and it's like, now you actually got to go do it. There's a difference between an experienced player that has done it before and they have the confidence to know that, hey, I know what it's like and I've gone out and I've done it before. And there's a lot of new faces on this Liberty roster that have not played inside of Williams Stadium in front of a big crowd. So that not knowing factor and getting over the nerves of that, I think that's going to be the most difficult. You may see some stumbles along the way. So, hey, Flames fans, don't panic. Don't panic. This is a good football team.
Yeah, get those first couple series out of the way, settle into the ball game. Joe, we're excited for week 1. We're excited to have you on all year long. And I know no one is more excited to have you here all season long than Emily Austin.
Oh, it's always entertaining when we have Joe Yock in studio. Speaking of entertainment, the Flame Central podcast presented by Ortho Virginia is very entertaining. We always have great guests on, but defensive end C.J. Bazell Jr. brought some fire. When you think about those special student athletes who define the Liberty brand, that's CJ. And this week, he told us about how the Flames are using motivation from last year to fuel their fire this season.
What gives you great hope going into this year that this is going to be the kind of group that you want to rally around?
Because everybody felt the pain from last year and what that felt like, and nobody wants to experience that again. So everybody has the same common goal, which is we're going to go after this. We're going to get better every day. We're going to chase greatness. That's what we've been doing. You got that LU on your chest. You got a big target on your back. And although 8-5 is cool for certain people, that's good for them, but we chase perfection.
Amen. Look at this guy. Look at this guy's my kind of guy.
And although perfection isn't obtainable, it gives you no choice but to be great. And greatness is something we chase every day. We want to be perfect. And 8-5, applaud for guys who are cool and common with that, cool for them, but that's not our standard. Our standard is higher than that, and we're just going to take it game by game. We're not going to look too far ahead. We're going to take it game by game. You guys will see.
Let's go. If you like what you heard there, you have to listen to our entire conversation with CJ. He even showed off some of his D-line moves on Joe Yock. Like I said, pure entertainment. It's the Flame Central podcast presented by Ortho Virginia. A new episode drops every Monday. Listen on Apple or Spotify, or you can watch us on the Liberty Flames YouTube channel.
All right, we turn now to women's soccer. The Lady Flames had started the season with 3 road contests and came out of that with 2 wins and a draw. But the competition would ratchet up in their home opener against number 17 Virginia. Now, Liberty's been known for striking quickly so far this season, and they had a great early look in this one. Haley Noblet, a scoring opportunity with a shot squarely at the keeper. Ivy Garner, also a good look in the first half. This one, too, would be turned aside. This game would be scoreless until the second half when Leah Godfrey got a free kick in the 77th minute. That would put UVA up 1-0. They would add another one in the 84th minute, and Liberty falls for the first time this season by the final of 2-0. Despite that defeat, Liberty women's soccer has established itself as one of the best mid-major programs in the country. But not only do they win at a high level, more importantly, the foundation of this program is built on Christ. And as you're about to see, it's that bold faith the Lady Flames exemplify that goalkeeper Grace Workman wanted to experience for herself.
Gotta get both. Carbs and protein. All right, let's go. Yeah, practice is like probably my favorite part of the day, unless we have a game. We have to go out and earn it every day. We're here. We're ready for another practice session. Let's go.
Grace is fire and energy.
Get out of my face.
Step up, no shot, no shot.
She's incredibly enthusiastic. She's loud, as she should be as a goalkeeper.
Step up, 1 step.
She's very bold in her faith. She's been an incredible addition to our program since she transferred here from Longwood last year, and she's really brought a lot of enthusiasm and love and courage to our team.
One of the biggest challenges that I've had spiritually within my sport, because I know God has a purpose for me within soccer, but it's finding that balance of being able to lead, but it's really hard to only lead by the likeness of Christ. I think that a big challenge that I personally face is ego, especially out on the field. I can live with that. Finding that balance between leading by the likeness of Christ and not by my own strength, is a really big challenge. But ultimately, I think throughout the course of my career, God has shown me over and over again that He leads my life and that I don't have ultimately any power apart from Him. He's the only reason that I've gotten to this point. Any muscle fiber, any strength I have is like only from the Lord, and I have to constantly remind myself of that.
Grace Workman is a redshirt junior goalkeeper for Liberty Women's Soccer, but her career didn't start here.
Give me that.
Grace came to us from Longwood. She was at Longwood University for a couple of years, entered the transfer portal late in fall of 2023. She was really just craving to be encouraged more in her faith, to be spurred on and in an environment where she can continue to grow in her faith with other believers. And so Liberty just stuck out to her with that. And so she wanted to pursue that and pursue it at a high level on the soccer side as well.
There were girls on my team that knew Jesus, but Christ was not the center of our team, and so that was hard at times. Spiritual community like we have here, I didn't really know what that looked like because I had never been on a team before where Christ was the center.
Before the start of the 2023 season, Grace felt uneasy about her situation and would elect to take a red shirt. Just days later, they would open the season by hosting Liberty.
We're playing at Longwood, and we win the game. It was a good game. Longwood always gives us a good match. And like we always do, we have the post-game prayer in the circle of the huddle.
And Hallie Angle, who's now my neighbor and teammate and good friend, shared a little bit about her story. And she just kind of shared a brief message like, hey, soccer is really fickle. And so if your hope isn't in something greater than your sport, then things can crumble really quickly. And so and she shared about Jesus and their team's love for the Lord. And like for me, that was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool.
After the game, I remember after the cool down and the prayer and everything, I'm walking off the field and Grace came up to me and we were just chatting. I'd never met Grace before.
But I just went up to him and I was like, hey, shook his hand and I was like, hey, my name's Grace Workman. And I just think what your team has is so special. And I wanted to thank you for doing that for my team. It meant a ton to me.
And we walked all the way up to the bus. And as we got to the bus, she said, hey, can I pray for your team?
I got on the bus was just kind of like, hey guys, you know, don't take for granted what is on this team because this does not take place everywhere. And what you have is here is really special.
A group of girls she'd never met before in her life, and she prayed over us in that moment. And I've never experienced that from an opposing player. And so it was really powerful.
Following the season, Grace would enter the transfer portal and eventually find a home at Liberty.
We were sold on both ends that this was going to be a great place for her and she was going to serve our team and it was going to be a place where she could grow in that faith the way that she had been called to.
My faith has grown so much since I've been here. I think that probably I've been the most challenged here in my faith because it all comes back to Jesus. The expectations are high because we're called to live in the likeness of Christ. There's so many resources here that enable me to be my best and to challenge myself in faith. I'm just really grateful for the community and for big groups of worship and worship before games. And it's a really great picture of like, this is what the kingdom of heaven can look like on earth.
Thanks to our Helmut Montoya, such a special story on Grace. All right, let's stay on the pitch. The Flames came out blazing with a 9-0 shutout in their season opener. And Liberty's Lucas Kelly made sure they kept it going against USC Upstate. The defender scored the Flames' first 2 goals of the match, the first one coming in the 8th minute. Then about 10 minutes later, free kick just outside the box, it's Kelly again. He went on to be named the OVC Co-Offensive Player of the Week. And if you need some insurance just before half, Kai Tamashiro nets his first goal of the season. It was enough early work for the win. Final score 3-1. Up next, the Flames travel to Radford for their next game. While leading the Flames to their early success this season is head coach Kelly Finley. He has more than 2 decades of coaching experience and took over the Liberty men's soccer program in December of 2018. Coach Finley may be known for his player development on the field, but the true goal is guiding his players on their spiritual walks off of it.
Unfortunately, for years and years, I was a really transactional coach. Transactional coach means that, you invest in people to get something that you want versus invest in them expecting no return to transform their lives. And I think for years, my coaching was about me using players, not developing players. And I don't ever claim to hear the word of God audibly, but what I definitely heard was, Kelly, I don't care if you're a good coach, but I do care how much you impact people for me. My family, we weren't even Creasters, is my running joke. I always say that we didn't go to church on Christmas and Easter. We didn't have Bibles. I had no association with church in any way, shape, or form. Honestly, my God and my idol was soccer. Grew up being a soccer freak. I don't know what it was, but I started playing when I was 6 or 7 years old and just fell in love with it. Always wanted to be a professional. I was a small kid coming out of high school. I was a good player, but I was little. And a friend of mine was going to this school in Chicago, and I got a great scholarship and ended up playing for a guy named Steve Burke at Judson College. I just saw these guys that had something different. And the guys I was around, they just had a joy that I could never understand. Didn't make sense to me, and I knew I needed it. But I was really, really focused on being a pro. And I had a couple really good guys come alongside me and say, look, you need to give that up. You need to surrender that because maybe God has a different plan. That kind of started the journey of coaching and really using the sport not just to glorify myself, but to try and tell others about what I'd found.
More touches, be ready to go. Let's do it. Let's go ahead, boy.
This was always a dream job for me. When I first got here, I was just excited about being in a Christian environment and being able to pray with my guys, being able to be open about my faith, being able to talk about God and use scripture openly. But what I didn't really understand was that you could actually disciple. And that to me is what it's different. I think before I was coaching a sport and I was trying to impact people. Now I would say I'm impacting people, working on transformation, and I happen to do it through soccer. There's 2 buckets that you have the chance to fill here. One bucket is spiritual growth and one bucket is athletic excellence. I think the one bucket that you can never get wrong here is spiritual growth. You just can't. That's the whole point. That's why Liberty's founded, and we're intentionally doing that every single day with our team.
Love the way Coach Finley leads his program. Our thanks to Josh Quigg for producing that story. All right, Liberty Field Hockey. They start their season Friday afternoon on the road at number 5 Duke. And to no one's surprise, the expectations are lofty once again for the Lady Flames. Let's start with the individual honors. Senior Lou Combrink has been named to the preseason All-Big East team, along with sophomore teammate Dara Samartin. But that wasn't the only honor for Combrink. He was also named the Big East Preseason Offensive Player of the Year. The South African had 8 goals along with 6 assists last season and looks to build on that performance in her final season. Now, as for the Big East preseason poll, Liberty was picked 2nd behind UConn. This marks the first time since 2021 the Lady Flames were not picked to win the league. Oh, by the way, 2021, you remember that year? That was the year Liberty won the Big East and played their way to a national championship game. In addition to this conference poll, the Lady Flames also ranked 17th in the first national poll of the season. Excited for their season to kick off this weekend. Listen, we're also very excited about the football home opener. You're going to want to watch the best pregame show in the country.
Yeah, forget about College Game Day. We're talking about Flame Central Game Day. You can watch the show 1 hour prior to each Liberty home game this season. That means this week's show begins at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. It streams on the Liberty Flames YouTube, Facebook, and X platforms. And then following the game, you can catch the post-game show in all the same places. Matt, so excited.
Yeah.
Flame Central Game Day is back.
Yeah, Rhett McGibbon and the whole crew, they do a fantastic job. If you haven't watched it before, definitely check it out. Hey, something else you can check out, libertyflamecentral.com. You can go, you can watch old stories that we've done. You can watch our show back a second, third, fourth time. It's your one-stop shop for all things Liberty Athletics.
You want more Flame Central? How about the Flame Central podcast? We drop a new episode every Monday. We got the Flames Fantasy League going this year.
Right.
Again, it's back, 6th annual. We have updates every week coming your way. We're out of time. For Matt, I'm Emily. We'll see you right back here next week.